Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Mental Corner Podcast, the show where I bring on guests from all different backgrounds to talk all the things mental health. I'm, of course, your host, Harry Potvin, and today I have the absolute pleasure of being joined by Adam Hindley. Adam is a physiotherapist, the host of the Normalising Life Podcast, and a third of the group A-Game Consultancy, which is three Adams who help burnt-out performers completely reset their health and make some serious changes. Adam was an absolute blast to have on, and I really want to thank him again for coming on and having this discussion with me. And I know if you're watching this on video, you can see the wrap on my arms. Yes, I got a couple more tattoos. Actually, tonight, as I'm filming this, I think I have a problem. They always say it, like, once you get your first tattoo, you're not going to want to not get any more. You're going to want to keep going. And at first, when I first got my original one on here on my other shoulder, I was like, there's no way. There's no way I'm going to want more. And now I just can't stop. It's crazy. So stay tuned for the sleeve because this train is just going to keep going. Also, if you have some sick tattoos and you want to show them off, shoot me a DM with some pictures. I want to see your awesome tattoos. Now, before we get started here, guys, you know the drill. If you're listening, please like, comment, share, subscribe, give 5 stars if you're on that podcast platform. Share with someone who might want to hear this episode. It's a really great one, and I can't wait for you to listen. I'll talk to y'all very soon. Have a great rest of your day. Peace. We're good to go. Adam, what's going on, man? It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, mate. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this today. It's going to be good.
I am too. So before we get too into anything, where did that come into play? Like, how did that start?
So basically, A-Game is a business that's the primary objective is in helping people improve their mental, physical, and internal health. And there's myself and my 2 business partners. All 3 of us are called Adam. And we all have a different area of specialty within health and well-being and health and fitness. So myself, I'm a personal trainer and physiotherapist. I have my other business partner who is a nutritionist and my other business partner who is a life and habit coach. So a lot around kind of the mental health and stuff that he covers there. So we cover these 3 key areas of health. And primarily it started by Adam Smith, the guy who covers everything with mental health, had an idea about bringing all 3 of us together because we all worked in our own businesses. And as you may know, working and doing a podcast, it's like it can be lonely doing your own thing sometimes when you're on your own all the time. So we decided that we were going to come together and we were going to join as a team and work together as a team and try and build this business as a team, and then having the people around you as well, which is really good and was really kind of the positive spin on where it started from. And it's just something that has been so prevalent over the last 18 months. Everyone's mental health has been struggling. Everyone's physical health has been struggling because they haven't been able to work out and go to the gym and stuff. And then everyone's nutrition and stuff has gone through. Everyone's put on the lockdown pounds at the minute. And is everyone's trying that the world is normalizing in some places, not everywhere, but because it's normalizing in some places, we wanted to try and help people and give them the stepping stones, because everyone has like this look of like, okay, mental health over there, physical health over there, and diet over there, and then sometimes diet and exercise get put together, but not all the time. And then mental health just kind of left to the side. And we kind of see it as like A-Game is there to help people have a completely holistic, full, well-rounded approach to helping all 3 elements of health and just showing how they all work in unison to make you feel better, which is something that we're all very, 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 very forward on and very positive with.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that because like often in recovery, you hear that mental health you hear people talking about mental health as its own thing. And like, once you focus on the mental health and get that better, then you're good, as opposed to focusing on all different facets of your life, which ultimately contribute more to the mental health aspect than anything else.
Yeah, definitely. Because I were at a festival last weekend, and there were a talk on mental health there, which I were amazed at. Well, I definitely need to go and see what this is about. and it was 4 psychologists, and like they were all sat at the panel and they're answering people's questions about the mental health and stuff, and it was great, but all of the stuff that they were touching on was very surface level, and it's like, this is like, it's all about kind of, they said it themselves, is that we don't have enough time to spend with people in our job working in the NHS. The NHS is the UK's free health service. It's more about a numbers game of seeing the people that they need to see, because it's a free service, and not like having time to spend with the people. So they need to give them an assessment and then they need to move on, which I understand from their point of view is what they have to do, but it's not what people need. It's people need to start. And they were talking about all these things, and they're actually touching on a study that had been about how important it was just to do the simple things of like going on a walk, getting some fresh air, like drinking plenty of water, doing a little bit of exercise, maybe trying to do some meditation and some mindfulness. And they were like, the studies on people's mental health improving doing these things is really important, because it would massively improve the mental health. And I was like, I was so shocked that there's 4 psychologists here on the stage talking about people's mental health. And obviously that's not the only thing that they deal with. There's the childhood trauma, there's all the addictions and everything else. But when it comes to, and this is not like stereotyping everybody, but this is saying in general, people that are experiencing depression or have depressive tendencies or a lot of anxiety and things like that, this may trigger some people, which is but it's like, I believe that people are doing depression rather than actually being depressed. So I can link this into my story and go back into my story a little bit, but the actions that you're doing day to day, are you doing things that are going to put yourself in a positive mindset? Like, really, truly ask yourself that. Are you doing things are you sitting on the sofa all day? Are you watching Netflix in your pants and getting a takeaway? And then are you expecting your mental health to improve? Because in some sense, yes, there is chemical imbalances in the brain, and I don't want to go against anyone who does have any kind of mental health condition and is taking medication for this, but are you using that as a solution, or are you doing the things in your day-to-day to take care of the core root of the issue? So like I say, all the little things, like, are you eating good foods? You eating like a nice colorful plate of foods and getting all them micronutrients? And are you doing the exercise that you need to be doing? Are you doing some mindfulness? Are you teaching yourself things? Are you like reading audiobooks that are going to help you grow and improve as a person? And like, what the friends and family, are they surrounding you? Are they pulling you up, or are they pushing you down? What? And it's like, it's all these little things that people need to think about, that is going to help improve the mental health, which I think is just massively overlooked at the minute.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many different building blocks for it, and it doesn't come from one area specifically. And I think people are trying to find it in one area, trying to get that quick resolution, quick fix, as opposed to changing different parts of your life that may actually have the impact.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because there's something that a lot of people refer to as like the lost wonder of the world, which is something called the compound effect. And it's normally used in business and investing and all this kind of thing. But I believe it to be really important in your general life, of that if you can become 1% better at eating a healthier diet, if you can become 1% better at getting a better morning routine for yourself, you can become 1% better at exercising, and you can become 1% better at being present and being mindful with yourself. And then all these 1% start to compound. And then if you're 1% better the next day, or even then 1% better the next day, and you do it in a way that's not overwhelming and not been like, today I'm going to be 100% better than I was yesterday, and you just take the smaller steps to do a little bit more, then you're going to see that progression just go up and up and up. And it's going to be really, really powerful for a lot of people when they think about it like that, and breaking down these individual areas and working like that. Because yes, it is important. You can focus on your exercise loads and you can focus on your diet loads, but again, when we go back into my story, then I can show why that hasn't worked for me. And even though I was a bodybuilder, I was on stage at sub 6% body fat, and I still felt like crap because I didn't deal what were going on with it up here, even though from neck down, I was like, you'd think that you'd be like the perfect human in that sense there. But it's, if you're not dealing with all three and you're getting them everything working in unison, then you're not setting yourself up to be happy in your own mind in that sense there.
Yeah, no, for sure. When I was a swimmer, I was in like the best shape of my life, way better than now. Shout out to the pandemic. But like I was lean, well, lean-ish and like super fit, and we were training like 10 times a week, but up in the head it was terrible. I was like living a nightmare. And it's like, well, you look great, so why don't you feel great? It's like, well, there were other different facets in my life I was not dealing with. I was kind of pushing them to the side. I had the physical health, which was great, but after that, it kind of just toppled over.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely the case. And I think that what would be good kind of giving some context is if I go back a little bit and tell you about kind of a bit more about my story. So mine kind of, it's based around my relationship with food, which obviously brings in like the internal health. Because I used to have, I don't think you ever really truly recover from it. You've got to just manage your cues and manage your things. Of like, I had a issue around binge eating and stuff when I was a lot younger, and then and it just basically, I changed my emotional attachments from food to exercise. But kind of the trigger and the first point of where this started for me was when I was 17, 18 years old at the time. I was with my girlfriend at the time, and we were in bed together, and we was doing the deed, and she started crying. And I obviously stopped and asked her why she started crying and stuff. And she said that she just no longer found me attractive. I'd put weight on at the time, and she didn't find me attractive anymore, which for an 18-year-old lad to hear that during sex is probably one of the worst things that you can possibly hear. And yeah. So this is something that obviously, like, I never had any resentment towards the girl, because for her to be able to say that to me in that situation at that time, God knows how long she's been holding that in for. I was like, it wasn't a resentment towards her. It was more of like a disappointment in myself at the time, kind of thing, that I'd let myself go as much as I did. And then this didn't end the relationship, but it was a few months later that we went to a university, and that's what split. We ended up splitting for the university. And like when I went to university, then it kind of went and got worse, because I started drinking more, started going out more, as everyone does when they go to university or college, whatever. And then it got worse and worse and worse. And then I decided that enough was enough. And when I went home from university in like the break time, I'd diet a lot and spend 5 or 6 weeks dieting, and I'd lose loads of weight. Because I say my degree I was doing at the time is physiotherapy. I know a lot about the human body. I know a lot about the foods I need to eat. I just needed to do it. And then I'd go back to university and it'd happen again. And then I'd go away, I'd lose the weight and come back. And what I realized a lot here is that I wasn't dealing with the issue as much as I thought I was. I was doing a behavior that caused me to put on weight, but caused me to have these kind of depressive tendencies of going out a lot, drinking a lot of alcohol. It's never going to be good for your mental health. I was then binge eating and eating a lot of takeaways. And then I was hungover and I was sat watching Netflix in my pants all day, waiting to go out again on the evening. And these tendencies on repeat were obviously leading me to do depression, not actually be depressed. Because I knew that I'd go home, I'd change back to exercise and stuff, and I'd start to feel a bit better and stuff like that. But what I found around my body image is that I always had an element of body dysmorphia, and it really just kind of, that's what messed me up a little bit, really, is the fact I was never good enough. And that goes on to even competing on stage, but I'll come to that in a second, is that after I'd left university, this was when I got to my biggest point.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to go back and see all my friends and stuff from uni all the time and go out and drinking still. And then there was one thing that we used to do was have you heard of a strawpedo before?
A strawpedo?
Strawpedo. You'd strawpedo a drink.
No.
So I don't know if it's like a common thing anywhere else, but in the UK, do this thing where you strawpedo a drink. So you put a straw in a drink and you tilt the top of the edge round. So when you down it, the air comes out, so it goes really quick. But we'd used to do that with bottles of wine.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So there's a picture on my Instagram of you can see it, I'm like holding a bottle of wine with a straw in it with my top off, been massively overweight, and there's a look in my eyes, and it's just like, that look is like, I've had enough. I have had enough at this point. And that was the moment that I decided to go, oh, I'm going to actually properly quit this now. I'm going to stick to my exercise. I'm going to stick to my my health regime and stuff. And so over that time, it went really well. I started documenting the process on Instagram and started doing YouTube and stuff as well. And it was good. I was like getting to where I wanted to be. But again, I started to deal with the physical health and I deal with the internal health. I wasn't dealing with up here. Like up here was still messed up. So I got to a point of where I was okay, I'm gonna finish off this weight loss journey. I lost 5 stone, which is it's in kilos, it's 30 kilos, but I'm not sure what that is in pounds. I think it's around 66 pounds, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I lost that in 18 months, and it got quite a lot of like media attention in the UK. So not because it's a huge weight loss, but it's because I went from this overweight person to on stage lean. So obviously the people that are like a few 100 pounds overweight can lose the 100 pounds quite quickly, which is still amazing, taking nothing away from these people. But it was because it went where I went from to being stage lean, which got the attention anyway. And that went by anyway. And I got these pictures of me stood on stage, still thinking that I wasn't skinny enough. I wasn't like ripped enough there. And I'm like sub 5%, sub 6% body fat, whatever. And yeah, the day after the competition finished, I ate around 10,000 calories without trying.
Oh my God.
So I'd restricted myself dieting for like 18 months. And then the day after I finished the competition, everything, I'd go back to what my roots are of binging. And it was that day, that moment, that I realized I hadn't dealt with my issues. I hadn't dealt with problems. I needed to face the actual inner demons that I've got and actually like start to work on them and live in like a sustainable, healthy lifestyle, not using one emotional anchor of food and changing the emotional anchor to exercise, and then repeating this switch side to side from going from like what everyone knows, like yo-yo dieting and stuff. And I think that's what a lot of people do, is that they don't change the mindset towards it. They just change the food and the exercise. And then that's what causes them to have the problems they have, because it's not a sustainable long-term plan. It's just not making the right choices at the right time. And that's what we help people with a lot of the time. It's nothing just about weight loss. It's nothing about that. It's about being happier. It's about living a better life. And that's what we try to do in A Game, because it's so important. You need to have every area of the triangle: your mental, your physical, and your internal health. You need to have all 3 of them in check, or you're not going to progress the best way you can.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. I think, what year was it? I was going into my 3rd year of university, and I remember I was on the swim team, and I was like, I want to be the best I can be for next season. So in the summer, because usually in the summer I did the same thing you did. I was super in shape all through uni. It was kind of reverse. I was like super in shape all uni, and then the summer came and I just overate, overdrank, didn't exercise, and I would come back super heavy, and then we would just kind of lose the weight. But then this summer I was like, I want to be the best I can be and get even more in shape. And so I hired a trainer. He gave me all these workouts, all these plans, but I kind of just did it. I didn't fix my mindset. My mindset was I want to look good and I want to be the best, but I didn't take into account what it takes to be one of the best. And so when I was doing the workouts, I was eating the food. I didn't take into account that, you have to approach it with a different mindset. I was just kind of doing it and expecting the result after. So then after like a month or two, I was like, I was losing the weight and I was in really good shape. And looking back at photos, I'm like, damn, but I didn't feel like it. I felt like I was not good enough. I felt like I was still fat. And I was like, I hate this, blah, blah, blah. And I cut it off completely. I told my trainer, I was like, I'm done. And then I went down that downward spiral. Like the mindset is so underappreciated when it comes to fitness.
Yeah. And I think that's it. I think it's just not just in fitness, it's in life. Like you need to have that solid foundations of the solid mindset to be able to really kind of push yourself in any avenue of life, whether it is your business. Like we've all heard people of burning out because they've pushed too much on a certain business, or they're training too much, so they've burnt out or whatnot. But if you're not looking after what's up here and stuff and doing the like, if you like, it's this kind of like grind and hustle mentality that a lot of people are kind of exposed to now with a lot of the things. I think it is good because it is changing, but this grind and hustle mentality that a lot of people are exposed to nowadays is actually making people ill and making people not stick to the goals in the longer term, because they're burning out and then they're setting these too high expectations on themselves and not setting the right goals to make sure that they can progress in the right way. And then if you don't set the right goal and it ends up being something that's a little bit out of reach or too unachievable, then you go into a bit of self-loathing spiral because you haven't achieved it. And then the self-loathing leads to like procrastination and stuff and everything. And the spiral just kind of continues. And it's doing the things that you need to do day to day, like the stuff that I imagine we do as exercising and exercising regularly and eating a nice healthy diet. And then just, it's all the simple things that you're told, but actually doing them because it's so easy to say, and to actually do them is so tough. Of like meditating, like I preach to a lot of people about meditating. I try and meditate every day. I haven't meditated for about a week. It's like, it's like actually doing what you say you're going to do and sticking to it. And in all honesty, I've been like quite ill I had like a bad cold over this last week. So that's the reason I haven't done it. But it is setting a routine up that's just right for you and just making sure that you can stick to it and you can do it the best you can, really.
Yeah, for sure. It's so much easier said than done.
Definitely. And yeah, that's the thing that's tough. And it's something that we're very passionate on helping people with, is that my life is going to be different to your life. The way that things that you need to do on a morning, or the time that, are you a morning person, you're a night person, like whatever, like is completely unique to you. So I can't go, or my routine is I wake up, I have a nice healthy breakfast, and then I go do an hour and a half of CrossFit because that's what works for me. And then as soon as I get back, I might have a sauna if I'm at the gym, and I might do some meditation. It's like, okay, well, that's fine, but your morning routine is nearly 3 hours there. If you're doing stuff, I don't have 3 hours in the morning. It's like, yeah, well, I'm not saying I'm saying what my routine is because it works for me. I'm not saying my routine would work for you. And it's not, there's a lot of elements of that. There's a lot of people that teach things as, well, this worked for me, so maybe it might work for you, kind of thing. It's like, it's the wrong way of wording it. It's like, this This has worked for a lot of people. It may work for you. Trial it and see. Is a lot better way of, because some people may just be like, oh, I just can't have a morning routine. It doesn't work. It's too much all or nothing kind of mentality. It goes back to that 1% that I was talking about a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and 1%'s not much. People expect to do the 100% right away, and you see it a lot. I'm a victim of it too. You know, one day you eat like garbage, you drink a lot of beer, and then the next day you're like, I'm cutting everything off. I'm going to diet 100%. I'm going to run like 10, 15 kilometers. And then the day after that, you're like, I'll go. It's whatever. I'll go back.
Yeah, no, and it's that's a big thing for us. So we talk about there's 5 stages of making lasting change, and when people don't have an element of all 5, I don't believe that they will stay committed and they will make the lasting change that they want to make. So the first point seems pretty simple, but you need to be painfully aware that there's an issue. So going back to my kind of bodybuilding situation, the day afterwards of the competition, I ate 10,000 calories. That day, I'm painfully aware that there's a problem. Like, I'm like, oh my God, how have I done this? Like, it were only that I realized I'd eaten 10,000 calories the day after the day that I'd eaten it. Cause I went, I must have been close. I ate a lot of food. And anyway, so I was like, this is not helping me. This is not sorting my issue. So I was painfully aware that there was an issue. It may be that someone has a pair of jeans and the button pops off and you're like, oh, fuck. that kind of moment of like, I'm painfully aware that there's a problem that I need to change. And the second point is a decision. You need to make the decision to change. And it seems silly because a lot of the time people wouldn't be talking to you unless they'd made a decision. Normally, them first 2 points are very like, if someone's even talking to a coach, talking to someone about it, they've got them first 2 points, which is really important. But a decision is only a decision if you haven't done any action. There's a great riddle around this. It's that like, if there's 5 frogs sat on a log and 4 decide to jump off, how many frogs are still left on the log? And the answer is 5, because a decision is only a decision. You haven't making or taken any action. So you need to make sure that you are taking the action when it comes to it. But this leads me to point 3. Point 3 is having someone to give you a strategy, or having your own strategy, making a strategy, basically, because we've all done the diet starts Monday, and then Monday comes around and you have no strategy about what you're going to actually do. You're going to be like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to eat. I ain't got any food in that I'm going to eat. And then you're failing because you haven't got the right strategy in place. So this doesn't, like, all of these things is like, myself being a coach, it's like you can get the coach to give you the strategy, or you can come up with your own strategy. It doesn't need to be with a coach. That's kind of the point of it. But you need the right strategy in place, or you're not going to make the change because you're just going to fall off. Then point 4 is accountability. So you need someone or something to be accountable to. So this could be like a family member. You could do it with a good friend. You could do it with a work colleague. It could be anyone who's going to hold you accountable to your goals. It could be a thing. It's going to be like, if I miss a workout, I'm going to put $5 into this jar. And every time I miss my workout, I'm going to put that money in the jar and I'm going to donate that money to charity. Obviously, it's a good thing that it's going to charity, but it's just keeping you accountable to actually do your workouts. Or again, could be a coach. Like, that's something that we're very powerful on, is that we create accountability for our clients by creating a community with all of our clients together, so they all hold each other accountable, which is really powerful and is really good. And then finally, the last thing, point 5, is taking massive imperfect action. So if you can't wait for all the ducks to be in a row, because they're never going to be in a row. You can't wait for this perfect moment. You just need to start, and then you need to get perfect later. It's like, there's a great book on it. It's a business book, but it's like ready, fire, aim. So it's like, just go start doing it, and then find your direction, find how to be better at it. But if you can make them 5 points all work together, then I think that you can really make lasting change. And it's not, you're not having to be an expert, not having to read all the books. And whether that is within your mental health, whether it's in your physical health, whether it's in your diet and your nutrition, that you need an element of them all, I think, to become a happier person. And that's what everyone wants a lot of the time, is when they're struggling and stuff, they want to be happier. And it's as simple as that. And a lot of the time, one thing I noticed with a lot of our clients is that people they like having the life coach and the mindset side of thing and the goal setting and the habits built, and learning about how they talk to themselves in different ways and how your language is affecting how you're feeling and stuff. But then people don't necessarily realize that, from my physio point of view, that your posture and how you're sitting day to day is actually then going to affect your mental health, because you're going to be carrying tightness and stress in your shoulders, which is going to give you neck pain and give you headaches, which is going to make you feel like crap. So it's like some of them kind of things people don't necessarily know that they want, but they need as well. And it's the same with the diet and the nutrition. They're like, oh, I eat reasonably healthy anyway. It's like, could you be better though? That's the question with it. And it's good. It's like, and we've seen like really, really positive results from people of like working in all of these areas together and bringing it all together as that holistic approach.
Yeah, no, the posture one's a big one. I don't have the greatest posture, but
As soon as I say it, you're like sitting up.
Yeah, you mentioned it, my back's all of a sudden straighter. No, but like I'll be at work, and you know, I'm walking around and everything, but sometimes I'm in the office doing like office things, and I'll be on the computer like this, like hunched over, like Hunchback of Notre Dame, like typing on the computer, and all of a sudden I'm like, why do I feel like shit? Like, oh wait, I'm looking at a screen for hours on end. Like I just ordered, I don't know, a beaver tail or a poutine from the store next door, and my back is curved like an inverse slope. It's like, oh, now I know why. It's like all these little things.
Yeah, that's it, mate. It's all them things. And I often say it to people is that we start the day with good intentions of being upright and stuff, and then just as your work day goes on, you end up just slumping more and more down, and you end up as like a puddle on the floor by the end of the day.
Oh man, that's funny. So when you I want to go back to your personal journey when you had when you ate the 10,000 calories and you kind of looked at yourself in the mirror and said, I need to get rid of this. What was like the push? Like, because you just mentioned in the 5 steps, like a decision is only a decision until you actually make action. What pushed you to make the action and not just stick at the decision?
Yeah. So the thing for me was the research that I started to do. And this is what got me into this remit really of like, self-help books, the compound effects, atomic habits, the millionaire success habits, and there's loads of different books around kind of mindset and the mental health remit. The Untethered Soul was a great one, a really powerful one for me. And then I reached out to Adam, the other Adam who I work with now, who was my coach. I worked with him on like life coaching and habit creation stuff and whatnot. And it was really powerful to have that accountability. It was really powerful to know that you're not the only person going through the journey that you're going through, because it can seem really lonely. And it was just reframing certain things from my past that may have been triggers towards making me hold resentment around certain things, or making me think certain ways now because something happened to me when I was 9 years old, kind of thing. It was a little bit like, say, therapy in a sense, but it was more like rapid therapy, because I know in therapy a lot of the time they don't give suggestions, or they don't give you any solutions in a sense, because if you take something too literally and go with it, then that can be an issue. But I think that's where coaching has some power a lot of the time, is the fact that, okay, here's the problem, this is how we're going to sort it out, this is how we're going to sort it out. But Yeah, the big things for me was like learning a lot about my environment and my circle, the people I surrounded myself with. Is found a big cue for me was going out and drinking alcohol, because that'd lead to the next day being a kind of a hangover day with takeaways and all that kind of stuff, and not exercising, and then beating myself up because I didn't exercise and that kind of thing. So I had to change my circle. I had to change my group of friends that I was spending more time with, because they were still in that remit of wanting to go out and stuff. And then I had to change my home environment. I had to remove foods. I had to remove the unhealthy foods that I'm eating, and I had to just remove the temptation of it all, really. And it's not the fact that I can't have any of that. It's just the fact that if it doesn't align with where I want to be and the goals and the person who I identify as, then I want to make sure that I can set up my environment in the correct way to make sure that I can achieve them goals. So it's not saying that I would never have a pizza or a bag of crisps, chips, whatever. It's just that I wouldn't have them around my house all the time to give me that temptation to just snack on them on an evening or something. Because some people will be like, "Oh, do you just not have the will?" Especially my mum was great at this. She was like, "Do you not have the willpower for it? Can you not just?" It's like, I don't want to even. It's not a priority. I'm dealing with everything up here right now. So if I can remove these things from my environment, then I'm not going to have to deal with that as well. And let me focus on this. And then as time goes on, now it's like I live in with my girlfriend at the minute. If we didn't have any snacks or any foods in the house, she'd go crazy at me. She loves it. And it's like, well, I've got to a point now where I can manage myself, where I don't go in the snack cupboard, because I know that it may be a trigger that or I've learned that one is okay and not six, kind of thing.
Right.
which
Yeah.
is which is a big thing. It's a journey with it. It's like, since I started doing that, I competed 3 years ago. So that day was like over 3.5 years ago now, when I ate the 10,000 calories, and doing what I'm doing, and then now helping other people do that as well has been really, really powerful, and really, really good, and really eye-opening. And what I often say is that people resonate the way that I tell my story. Someone may resonate with that loads, and then the way that, or someone may not resonate with it that much at all, but then someone else may tell their story that is around binge eating as well, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, that was me." So it's like, if I can be vulnerable and open about it, and talk to people, talk to yourself, and hopefully if anyone listening then resonates with what I'm saying, they might go, "Oh my god, I need to do something along these lines." And then if they then figure it out for themselves, then they may have, what I like to say is, they may have the cheat codes or they may have the survival guide for someone else's struggles right now. Like, my story might be the survival guide for someone else's struggles. And then same thing, say if you tell your story, someone may be like, "Oh, I'm a swimmer. This makes so much sense to me." And again, it's like, your struggles are the survival guide for someone else's story.
Yeah, and like it's sometimes it's the points that you don't think are going to have an impact. It's because the brain does a beautiful job at, well, I mean, people I know anyway, it does a beautiful job at grabbing points and then trying to relate it to your life so that you can kind of grasp what's going on. So you could say something and not think anything of it, and someone will be like, "Oh, well, that reminds me of a time of when I did this, and then that I can relate to that, and now I feel better and know where to go." It's like just being vulnerable and open. It's a
Yeah.
powerful tool, man.
Yeah. And I think that one thing that, especially in men, one thing that is often, as we've grown up, I think it's been a massive shift through what our generation would have been. But especially in the north of England, in the UK where I'm from, it's very much like a lot of mining, like mining little towns and stuff like that. And they're all very like hard men don't show emotion kind of people. And these are the people that are killing themselves now. Like, these are the people that are committing suicide. And like, as much as COVID is like a massive thing and massive pandemic, that mental health pandemic around it is massive as well. The suicide pandemic is massive as well. And the numbers around it are ridiculous. The fact that for every 4 people that reach out for help with like a therapist or a coach or something, 3 of them are female. Out of every 4 people that are killing suicide, 3 of them are male. So the numbers are just flipped on the head. It shouldn't be like that. The men should be reaching out more. And I believe that being vulnerable is true strength, and it shows your resilience as well. So it's like vulnerability is your strength times resilience, because it shows that you've been hit and you're getting back up again. And now that you're trying to use your story and share it, and that is really true strength a lot of the time as well.
Yeah, 100%. And that actually is kind of why, you know, companies and groups like you guys are so important, because they, like, the media is telling you to stay healthy and people are telling you to stay healthy, but they're not giving you any plan of how to. They're just saying social distance, they're closing the gyms, they're not saying anything about diet. So people are locked in their houses all day, they're not moving, they're not eating well, they're stressed out of their minds all the time and looking at a screen. And you wonder why the mental health crisis is like increasing by the day.
Yeah. No, it's exactly it, mate. It's that little simple things like the like one thing I haven't really said about is like that sleep's so important, but it's because people are spending so long on computers and then watching telly and then scrolling on the phone before they go to bed. They're not sleeping very well, even though they might feel like they're sleeping for 7 or 8 hours. They're not actually getting the good quality sleep, because like the way that the light works, it hits your retina and that keeps your brain active until at least an hour and later on into your sleep, and you're not hitting your sleep cycles as well. And there's a great podcast with Joe Rogan and Matthew Walker, a sleep specialist, and he talks about kind of the importance of the blue light blocking glasses, not being on your phone first thing in the morning, not being on your phone late at night, and trying to keep your screen time to a minimum around past like 8 p.m., which for a lot of people is like 8 p.m. is gaming time.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I'm going to strain my eyes at a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the hardest to break, because now everything's on your phone.
Yeah.
Like, how do you talk to people if you're not on the phone?
Exactly. Yeah, I don't put my phone in my bedroom. My phone stays in my bedroom's like behind this wall, and I keep it in my office. My alarm goes off in my office and I can hear it in my bedroom. So when I wake up in the morning, I have to get out of bed to come into here to turn it off.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, because the snooze button is the demon.
Oh man, I sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes I will press the snooze button still asleep.
Yeah.
It's like my body wants to do it.
Yeah, it's like I don't even know my alarm. I just slept right through it. No, you probably turned it off in your sleep.
Yeah, your body went, nah, you're good.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny.
No, but yeah, that's a big thing for me, is if you can leave your phone out of your bedroom, like it just means that you're not gonna go on your phone in bed on a night, which is going to help your brain switch off a little bit and settle down a little bit. Some people like reading, some people like doing a bit of meditation and stuff. A lot of the meditation stuff, like the headspace and calm and whatnot, are all on your phone, which makes it a little bit harder. But yeah, if you leave your phone outside your bedroom, I find it a really powerful thing, because you're not scrolling on a night, and then when you wake up in the morning, you're not hitting snooze. Because the amount of times that I've got out of bed going, I'm hitting snooze and getting back into bed. And then by the time I've got into the office, which is like 5 steps away, it's like, do you know what? I'm just going to get up. I'm going to do it. It's like, it's the override in your brain. There's a great book on it called The Chimp Paradox. I don't know if you've heard of it or read it before. But it's all about kind of your chimp brain being the emotional, strong one, and your initial response kind of, your initial reaction kind of one. And then your human brain, which is your actual response kind of one that's more logical. And it's like using a trick that's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if you can count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it lets your human brain kick in rather than the emotional brain. And I use that one a lot of like, when I did have my phone in my room, I'd be like, I'd wake up in the morning, it'd be like, okay, by the time I count down to 1, my feet's going to be on the floor. I'm going to be out of bed. It's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm out of my bed. And it really powerful, but even better than that, just leaving your phone out of your bedroom completely.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing that I took from hitting the snooze button, and this is from when I was an athlete, because you have so many different options to go to practice, but I always preferred the morning, like from 5 to 7 training, as opposed to going at night or in the afternoon, just to get it out of the way and start your day. But some mornings, man, like every Thursday morning, it was always the hardest morning, because it's like, oh, it's so close to the weekend, but it's not really.
Yeah.
And so some days I would be like, you know what, I'm going to hit that snooze button. Or, the girl I was dating at the time, she was also on the swim team, and she'd be like, are you coming to practice? And we'd be in the same bed. I'm like, nah, I'll snooze in. And not a single time did I feel better after.
Yeah.
I never woke up after and went, I'm glad I did that.
Yeah. No,
Never.
that's it. And the statistics are like literally crazy. Is that if you snooze every single day, you lose like, I think it's like 2 days throughout the year. Something like,
jeez Louise.
Yeah, which is crazy when you think about it like that. Of like, yeah, that them 10 minutes that. And do you know a funny fact? Do you know why the snooze is normally 9 minutes?
Why?
Because it was originally made on analog clocks, and it was hard to set a double-digit snooze on analog clocks. So the only reason it's 9 minutes now is because someone couldn't figure it out that long ago on analog clocks.
Oh my God, that's funny. I was always wondering, like, why 9? That's such a strange number.
Yeah, they just couldn't set it to. They couldn't set it to 10.
That is
now
so
we have
funny.
digital, and it's still set at 9.
Yeah, I know. They didn't bother changing it. They're like, no one will notice.
No, it's crazy, but like my business partner, Adam Mayhew, he runs ultra marathons a lot, and he has a 59 rule of that he doesn't do anything on 0:00. He's like, if he goes out for his run, I'm out my run at 5:59. It's like I'm not out at 6:00. Everyone else is 6:00. I'm better than them, so I go 59, which is I do like. I haven't done yet myself, but I do like the idea of it. Is that everyone gets there at 0:00, I get there at 59.
Yeah, it makes you feel like your confidence must just build up over time. You're like, yeah, I'm here before you.
Yeah.
It's that 1% thing you were talking about.
No, definitely. Yeah, it's great, and like that's what I think. If anyone is listening, and anyone is really like either really struggling or just wants to take some steps to improve themselves now, and like could take some of the tips out of this podcast, it's that main thing is just not being overwhelmed by it. It is just 1% every single day. It may be 1% today is I'm gonna take an apple with me to work. I'm gonna have that. Or 1% today is I'm actually gonna carry my water bottle with me all day, so I've got water to drink. Now, and the 1% may be that I'm gonna go to the gym, and I'm gonna give myself 5 minutes. I do 5 minutes work is all I need to do. I can go after I've done 5 minutes. If I want to stay and do longer, fair enough. And then the next day it's 1% in something else. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to download the Calm app, and I'm going to try and do a guided meditation for 5 minutes. And then that one, like, it doesn't overwhelm you of being like, right, okay, so I need to meal plan all my meals. I need to go to the gym, and I'm going to do this 1.5 hour HIIT workout thing. And then I'm going to come home and I'm going to do an hour and a half of meditation. And like, you're just setting like this massive unrealistic goal that's not involved in your life. And there's a particular thing called habit pairing, which is great, which is like, okay, you want to consume a little bit more, say, self-help books or whatnot. You want to listen to more audiobooks. Then are you prepping your meals in the morning? Are you doing any cooking? Can you put your earphones in while you're cooking and just consume the book? So if you're pairing a habit that's really good that you want to do with something else that you're already doing, it's like, can you put a glass in your bathroom that every morning you're going to fill up with a pint of water? So when you brush your teeth, you've got the cue of then having a pint of water as well. So you wake up hydrated. It's like really small, simple things. You can just set up your environment a little bit better to help you progress a little bit more. And again, it's just 1% things. It's all it needs to be. And these just keep compounding. Once you've got your glass of water sorted, it's like, oh, I'm going to actually put my multivitamin and my few little tablets or whatever I need to take. I'm going to put them next to the water as well. So I've now habit paired 3 things. Next to my kettle, I'm going to put my actual goal planner for the day. So I'm going to write down my goals for the day. And I know that once I've had my morning coffee, I've got my goal planner there. I'm going to do that as well. And it's just really, really, really like simple little things that people can really do to progress and to build up on the improving the little things in the life.
Yeah, I love that, because I was actually going to ask you earlier, but like the conversation kept going. But like when you're in, not your environment, but when your workplace changes or your situation changes and you've had this set schedule for however long, and then you can't do the schedule like you did before, and then you kind of go down that spiral again. The habit pairing is such a great idea, because it, like you said, you put the water next to the toothbrush, that's 2 habits done.
Yeah.
And what happened before in your schedule where maybe you took like the 20 minutes to enjoy that water and then the 2 to 3 minutes to brush your teeth, you just combined them. So you don't have to take that time slot out. It's a great idea.
Yeah, that's it. And we have a saying in a saying that we always use called the 3 C's of like constantly consume content. It's like these things are absolutely amazing. These little earphone things is that when I'm prepping my meals, I can listen to an audiobook. When I'm driving to the gym, I can be listening to an audiobook. When I'm in the gym, I'll listen to a podcast. And like you choose the content that you want, like, because it's the content should always serve 2 purposes. It should entertain you to make you happy a little bit, or it should empower you to or teach you to learn, basically. So your entertainment stuff is more for like your chill time, your downtime, because everybody needs it. It's not saying that you need to work through constantly. It's doing the things for you where you're down and you're chilling. So your content should be like that, or your content should be like something that's going to help you progress. If you're an artist, it might be listening to like an artist podcast about how to help sell your art, or doing something like that. If you're someone like us that's in a health and well-being business, it might be something about more habits around sleeping, or learning more things around mindset and how you're talking to yourself and stuff. Because I believe that a lot of the experiences that people have and they talk about in the books that are out there, the self-help books, they're the things that people need to be consuming, and they're the things that people need to be sticking with and working with, because they're coming from, like, these are people's survival guides that, like we were talking about before. These are what people are talking about, which is really is working for them and is working for a lot of other people that they've seen, especially if they're a specialist in their field, maybe talking about, say, Matthew Walker and sleep and these kind of things, or say a guy called Michael A. Singer and the Untethered Soul. Again, really recommend that book for anyone who's listening. It's these kind of things are just, they're worked off the fact that they worked for that person, but they also worked for a lot of people that they've worked with as well. So when it comes to a point of reading a self-help book like that, I think that's really important there.
Yeah, I think we consume too much useless stuff. I do anyway. Like sometimes I'll be on YouTube. I'm like, why am I watching this? There's no benefit.
Yeah. No, and I do the same. I love watching YouTube, and again, it's that line of having the self-control about, is this my downtime, or am I just now consuming this content for the sake of consuming it? Which a lot of the time it does tend to be the fact that, okay, I've been watching this for an hour and a half now, maybe 10, 15 minutes might have been enough.
Yeah, you're like,
and,
I'm an hour
and
over.
and it's like, what social media is designed for, like the endless scrolling, like way of TikTok, or the endless scrolling of Instagram reels and these kind of things. They're all just made to keep you on the apps, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh man, that's a dangerous rabbit hole.
Dangerous place, yeah, very.
Oh my god. So, for anyone listening who might be, adjusting their habits or changing their life in terms of their routine or their diet or anything, I'm sure you know better than anyone, and I'm gonna ask you in a second. But when you're going through it, it doesn't just end. It's not like you're in a bad habit, you're in a bad routine, you fix it, and then a year later you're good. Like you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about anything. There are points where you slip up, and like me personally, I've experienced that where like my mental health was good, and then there's a week where it just spirals, and then spirals again, and then you're like, it's been a month and I don't even know what day it is because I've just been in this deadly spiral. Like these happen, these dips happen, and the problem with those is that people get so hard on themselves because they feel like, why can everyone else keep the routine and I'm struggling right now? So for you, you mentioned that the 10,000 calories was 3.5 years ago. Do you experience these dips, and then how do you combat them and get back on track?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I experience the dips, and I experience moments where it's like it would have been really easy to go into a binge. But I think one of the main things is having self-awareness of being able to realize when it's happening. And um like everybody knows when it's building up and certain things may be happening, or you're starting to feel a little bit worse, and your mental health may be suffering ever so slightly. And this is happening to everyone, and it happens all the time. Because I mean, I liked what you said there, of that there is no, when people say I'm getting there, there is no there. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. There isn't a tunnel. You are on the journey. You are doing right now. There is no, oh, it'll be better when this. It'll be better when I've done this. Or when I get to this weight on the scales, I'll feel better. You won't. You won't. You'll just want to lose more. Or you'll just be unhappy at how underwhelming it is to actually get there. Um, because they're the wrong goals, the wrong things that people are chasing. And it comes back to, again, having that self-awareness that um that you are maybe going into a darker place, things, emotions are starting to build up, and it's being aware that that's happening and thinking, okay, well, why is this happening? For me, a big thing was it being Friday was a cue for me. It was
Mm.
like on a Friday, I finish work and I'll watch a film and I'll buy a big family size bag of crisps, and I'll eat them and watch a film. And it were like, okay, this were a Friday cue, so I needed to change what I did on a Friday to do that, to change the cue. So there is an element of self-awareness, and there's a great thing. I personally didn't, it didn't really work for me, but I've heard a lot about it. It's habit tracking. So if you go through the week and you actually jot down when you may be feeling these emotions at what time, and you do that over the course of a month, you can start to realize some patterns around it, about, oh, when I actually go to that place, like, because I bartended for a lot of the time when I was at uni, which didn't help the drinking.
Mm.
But it was like, when I go to that place, that makes me want to get proper messed up and have like a heavy night. So I'm going to avoid going to that place. So it's realizing these little cues that you have in your life, and in your routine. And then if these do happen, and these times do happen, this is, I mean, a lot of the things that I say are simple. They're not easy. They're very simple for me to say, but they're not easy to do. But if you do have a period of where you binge or whatever, it's not beating yourself up about it. It's remembering that tomorrow you're going to try and be 1% better again. And that's it. That's the end of the story. There's no more, oh, I need to um, starve myself for 2 days to make up for it. Because no, that's going to make yourself feel worse. There's it's just 1% better. Every single day, 1% better. If you fall off the wagon, whatever that means, then you get you get back on and you do 1% again, 1% again. Don't be aiming for 100% or nothing. And then if it goes to nothing, then I need to be 100% again. Like, no, 1% again. Start going 1%. And that's the biggest thing for a lot of people that find it really tough, because they want, oh, but I was so good when I was here. It's like, when I look back at my stage pictures now and I was as lean as I was then, I'm like, how in my head did I not feel lean enough then? Like, how were I experiencing body dysmorphia at that point then? But I felt like crap because I didn't deal with it up here. So if you try and do it at 100%, you're not going to give yourself time to deal. You need to give yourself time to adjust and deal with everything that you're working with. So the 1%'s worked an absolute treat. And we're in a culture of where a lot of advertisements have come out and everybody wants the lose. I lost 6 stone on this juice shake diet in 6 weeks kind of thing. And it's like, oh, I took this blue pill and this blue pill made me lose weight. It's like, whatever. It's like, don't, it's like, there are great, like, would you rather this with this? It's like, would you rather take the blue pill and lose 5 stone, or would you rather take the red pill and it's going to give you all the knowledge to lose all the weight, but you're not going to lose anything straight away? And like a massive amount of people said, I want the pill that's going to make me lose weight now. It's like, okay, so you don't want the education and the knowledge to empower you to make lasting, sustainable change in your life. You just want the result now.
Yeah.
And then 6 weeks time, the people that actually have the knowledge are going to do a lot better, and the people that lost the weight initially are going to be exactly where they were when they started.
Yeah.
Yeah. People just don't change the habits. If you don't change your habits, you can't change your life. It just doesn't work like that.
No, there's no, like, the quick fix is nice for what, a month, 2, and then you're right back there.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly it. And it's the same with, I don't like the word diet. I mean, I know I've probably said it loads of times, but I don't like it when people go, I'm going to go on a diet in that context. It's like, because to me, the word diet goes on, if you're saying like, what is your diet, then it's okay. But what is the diet that you're on? It's not, because people tend to, diet has an end point. Like, oh, I'm following the 6-week diet. Why 6-week diet? Why are you doing it for 6 weeks? It's like, oh, if it's something like, oh, I'm following this diet for a marathon, perfect, fine, that's awesome. But what afterwards are you going to do? Are you going to follow it? Or like, it's when people go, oh, I'm hating this diet I'm on at the minute, but I've got to do it. It's like, no, you don't. That's wrong. Like, you're not on the right diet if you're hating doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's so many little things around it that it's so individual to everybody's situation that you need to take it. It's like, what area of health are you actually struggling with? Is it an injury that's making it so you can't exercise? Is it your mindset, your motivation to get, don't really feel like you can get out of bed? You're not actually eating the right foods to help you perform to the level you want to perform. There's so many little things that can affect it all, really. But it's all individual. Everyone's on their own process with it all, and you need to learn to enjoy that process, because if you keep chasing, you're never going to be happy chasing. You're only going to be happy when you achieve something that is probably out there for you not to really achieve.
Yeah. What wise words, man, for real. Enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Where can my listeners find you if they want to learn more?
Yeah, so they can either follow myself, which is Adam_Hindley on Instagram. They can join our Facebook group, which is Bring Your A Game. We have a community full of about 450 people in there currently, which are all on this journey of self-development, all on this journey of wanting to improve themselves and better themselves. And there's like no hate tolerated. Everyone's sharing wins and stuff. It's just a really good, like, we're talking about accountability, and that right environment and surrounding yourself with the right people. It's all of them things in the community-based place. It's a free community called Bring Your A Game, which is awesome. Or follow A Game on Instagram as well, which is just A Game Consultancy.
Amazing, man. Adam, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you for having me, mate. It's been good.
And to all my listeners, I will see you guys next time.